All right, a few more news items. Then we're going to get to your questions. Please raise your hand if you've never been on the program, want to get in the conversation. Number 12, House and Senate gone. There's no prospect of an agreement this week, rest of today or this weekend. Here's the CNBC headline. Trump administration begins layoffs of federal workers amidst government shutdown. The head of the OMB, Russ Vought, tweeted that layoffs were beginning. Not clear exactly how much they'll be. Here is Speaker Johnson, and then Leader Jeffries. We can play these back to back, Sam. 14 and 15, framing the issue today, as they have almost every day of the shutdown, by doing public appearances.
I'll turn it back over to the leader. We take some questions, but we've heard, and many of you have reported already, this Hate America rally that they have coming up for October 18th. The ANTIFA crowd and the Pro-Hamas crowd and the Marxists, they're all going to gather on the mall. We got some House Democrats selling T-shirts for this event. It is an outrageous gathering for outrageous purposes, but the Democrats in the Senate have shown that they're afraid of that crowd, that they don't want to bow, that they want to bow to them, bow the knee to them, and they don't want to take incoming from them. And so they're willing to hold the American people hostage so that they don't have to face an angry mob that's a big chunk of their base. Now, if that's a rumor, they need to come out and clarify that it's not, but that is what we are hearing is their actual motivation, and it is outrageous. All this has got to come to an end.
Wow.
You're already seeing paychecks missed, soldiers lining up at food kitchens. Are you concerned that this fight for health care that Democrats are waging here might end up hurting Americans the longer the shutdown drags out?
Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They decided to shut the government down. Republicans in the House have decided to remain on vacation. Republicans canceled votes last week, they canceled votes this week, and now they've canceled votes next week. They're not serious about reopening the government. Republicans aren't even serious about paying our active duty troops.
But they have voted for temporary government funding legislation.
Republicans have voted for a partisan spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
Beverly, the only game I hate more than the Washington blame game is Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah.
Never really liked Chutes and Ladders. I'd love for each of you, before we go to questions, just where do you think we're headed here? How long will this last? How do you think it might end?
I just want to first start by saying what Hakeem Jeffries is saying is just not true. There have been many votes that have been called, and Democrats continue to hold their ground and not want to vote for this clean CR. But the whole, the Russ Vought OMB side, I think, is fascinating about the rifts, these reductions in force that are happening from a public perception standpoint. So this was a lever that Russ Vought claimed he may move forward with, well, okay, if you don't want to fund government, we're going to take those non-essential workers and we may tell them that they're laid off. This was something he talked about. You had the president actually tweet out an edited video last week that depicted him as the Grim Reaper. And so I'm wondering, I think Republicans have won the messaging battle as far as this is a clean CR, let's move forward, because Democrats have wanted to add $1.5 billion to this, including what Republicans' narrative is, which is true, healthcare for illegal immigrants. So I think Republicans have won so far. This is like Doge 2.0, and I'm just wondering how it's going to be perceived with the layoffs. So I think that's a really interesting part of this.
Yeah, and of course, some Republicans had urged the administration not to go forward. Frank, you write beautifully and pointedly about all this stuff. What's your view of Beverly's view on all this?
We don't agree much on this one. So I think from the Democratic point of view, I think, and I think that the Democrats have done a couple of smart things here, which has been unusual this year, honestly. But focusing on healthcare obviously has been a really a key part of the Democratic strategy, and I think actually the Republicans have kind of lost a little bit on the kind of clean CR conversation. Senate politicians from both sides of the party, both sides of the aisle, tend to speak in Senate speak. Clean CR, I don't think conveys very much to very many people. If they had said, hey, we want to keep everything exactly the way it is, all we're looking for is a little more time to negotiate, that might have been more compelling. I think the Speaker Johnson has his facts wrong about No King's Day, obviously, but also people think that the Schumer and Jeffries are being contained by the Democratic base, and obviously there's some tension there. But I think the thing to remember about this from a Democratic point of view is this is a chance for Democrats to prove that they are fighting for working class families on something that really matters to them, which is their ability to actually have health care for their families. So I think that's a really powerful argument, and I think it will ultimately kind of prevail.
Jill.
I have to say I agree with Frank, all the points that he made. And, I've looked at the recent polls on this, and it looks like the Democratic message is getting through and that people, think the Republicans, I hate this war of who's to blame, but it looks like the Republicans are taking the heat on who's to blame.
By some margin, not clear how much. Cozy Earth makes products viscose made from bamboo. You've no doubt, I suspect correctly, that I'm currently wearing my Cozy Earth pants, but they're so much more than pants. Yes, they are. Cozy Earth bamboo sheets, very comfortable, very cooling when it's hot out, very warm in the colder nights. A kind of a magical material. The Bubble Cuddle blanket is a fan favorite. You can buy that too. A combination of comfort and style. And then, of course, all the bedding comes with a 100-day return, 10-year money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, rather. And right now, you can get all the Cozy Earth products 20% off. Pants, joggers, shirts, everything. 20% off if you go to cozyearth.com. Put in the promo code TWOWAY for 20% off, because home isn't just where you live, ladies and gentlemen. It's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. Again, cozyearth.com, promo code TWOWAY. Thank you for your attention to the pants.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.